Hello, I'm Elsie Escobar, and I am from The Feed, the official Libsyn podcast, and She Podcast, the podcast that's all about podcasting for women. And you are listening to PBR Podcast.
What's up, everybody? PBR Podcast, Mike Polano, Derek D, and I'd like to say the queen of podcasting, Miss Elsie Escobar.
Yeah! Oh my gosh!
What's up?
I feel so famous. What is up, yo?
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You like to say queen of podcasting.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? Queen of podcasting?
Yeah. The queen of all podcasts.
The queen of all podcasts.
Queen of all.
That's fantastic. I love it. Thank you so much. I'll take it. I'll take it.
I don't know. Maybe it's like if you had to put Elsie and the Angry Ginger in a room to become the quintessential power of podcasting. Who wins that fight?
I'll have to tell you at the end of this.
At the end of this episode?
Oh my gosh.
Elsie, I mean, we were just meeting each other.
I know, right?
But I feel like we're best friends.
That's true.
Besties. So, Elsie, what's going on? Thank you so much for coming on and taking the time to come on PBR. Real quick, at the top of the episode, tell all of our listeners where they can stalk you on social media.
Oh my gosh, at YoGeek. YoGeek. I am YoGeek almost everywhere. And if I'm not YoGeek, I'm YoGeek Girl. So in either both of those, you can find me almost everywhere on social media like that. Yep.
I'd like to do that at the top of the episode, man, because if I'm listening and I don't know who the person is, I immediately want to go check out their Twitter.
Yeah, get out.
Oh, you want to go check? That's great. What a great note. Note to self. Have to put that in my podcasting tips book.
Yeah, because if you're listening and while you're listening, you could just automatically go search everyone on social media and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And by the way, YoGeek, I feel like have you had that for a long time? I feel like that's a good, solid like Twitter name and social media handle, and that's pretty good. I was expecting you to be like YoGeek_348 or something. I don't know.
No. It was straight up, man. I've had, there was somebody who reached out to me and said like, hey, I'm a yoga girl too, and I really like geeky things like you, and I want to be YoGeek too. And I was like, sorry.
So there you go. That's where
I'm YoGeek.
You want to be YoGeek too? That's exactly what it'd be. YoGeek too.
Right.
Exactly right.
I'm number
that's
one.
Great. I should have said that.
Chris Lodondo's his AOL Instant Messenger screen name, which we'll get to later, is Kenobi77, which means there were 76 Kenobis before him.
Yes, that's true.
As Dennis the intern likes to point out.
Yes,
that's harsh.
So
Elsie, you're a podcaster, and I think I came across you from you work for Libsyn, and people might not know this, but every podcast they listen to, there's a back end somewhere, right? And Libsyn syndicate. What do you call it? Libsyn syndication? I guess that's the full name of the company?
Liberated syndication.
60%, right?
Yeah.
60% of everything I say is wrong. So tell us a little bit about Libsyn and what you do for them.
So Libsyn is basically the largest podcast host and distribution network, and that just basically means that we host your media. So every time that there's like a file after you finish recording your podcast or your video or whatever else, a PDF even, we host it for you so that you can deliver it as quickly and efficiently as possible to your peeps. Because most, web servers aren't really designed to deliver media, especially on demand like that in large quantities. So we just make it easy. And we also take care of the bandwidth issue of it. Like the guys that started Libsyn, they found out that very early on that bandwidth was really a huge issue for delivering media online. And they thought like, wow, there's probably other people that are looking for the same solution. Why don't we create a company around that? And they kind of did. So it sort of took off. It was like guys in a garage trying to figure things out. Basically, I think it was in a garage. It was an apartment, but still, it was, the same concept. It was them with their computers, and they just put it all together, and it turned out to be like really awesome. So now there's about, I think, oh gosh, I don't know what the percentage is, but we do host over 35,000 podcasts now, or at least we have 35,000 accounts.
Wow.
So yeah, that's a lot, right?
That's a lot, man.
Yeah, that's a whole lot to manage, but yeah, that's great.
This podcast is basically all about the revolution of our guests, and so like talking to you about this is very interesting. Obviously, because we're a podcast, but you've been in the game for how long now?
Since 2006.
And how, I mean, you've seen it grow. I mean, when did podcasting even become like a viable source of entertainment?
We're still waiting. I'm just kidding.
Do you really believe that?
I mean, I in some shapes or ways, shapes or forms, yes, and yes. Sometimes I feel that there's a lot to be, a lot more education to go around. I started in 2006, and when I started, it was July. I fell in love with podcasting like right away. I just thought like, this is the coolest thing ever. I want to get behind the mic. At first, that was the first thought, right? But then I had no idea what I would do. And I decided, you know what, I had all these show concepts that just I never followed through with. And I thought, but I really want to do this. I just want to do the thing. I want to know how to do it. And I decided to start to podcast my yoga classes. And at that time, obviously, yoga people aren't necessarily technology centric. So here I was recording this thing, and people are like, "Why do you have that thing strapped to your arm? Why are you wearing a microphone?" And
so you were like actually during yoga, you were.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Oh, wow. Sun salutations.
Yeah. Exactly. So dog. I would get on in front of the class, and I would teach the class, and I would just record my class while I was teaching, and so people would ask me, and I would say, "It's this podcast," and then of course people would be like, "What the heck is that?" And so I had to basically teach people right away what that was. And because I was one of the only people that was doing this, I was basically a handful of yoga people doing this, of course, like at that time. I got a lot of support from iTunes at that time because there weren't that many podcasts out there, let alone of yoga, right?
Yeah.
So audio yoga class. Everybody always goes, why did you do an audio yoga class? Well, that's a whole other talk, but people listened, and so from then on, people just started to download my podcast a lot, and I became a lot more interested in podcasting as a whole, and I wanted everything to do with podcasting with as many podcasters as I could, and I got noticed because of my passion by, I guess, the industry, and I ended up working for Libsyn, which was really random.
So where were you born and raised?
I was born in El Salvador, San Salvador, Central America.
Okay.
Nice.
So at what point do you at what point do you start to, let's go back a little bit. At what point do you start to get into yoga? When
I actually chose to go to grad school based on the fact that they offered yoga as a part of the curriculum. And I had never done yoga before, but I thought that's a really cool thing. And of course, who chooses their master's program based on whether or not they offer yoga?
Right.
Yeah, well,
Me.
To each their own.
And so then I decided to attend that, and I kind of got introduced to yoga in my master's program, and it was great. I still didn't know very much about it, but it really helped me. It was a master's in acting, and so it really helped me get on stage, and it really helped me calm down before I got on stage. It gave me like breathing exercises and like stretches that I could do before I got on stage, so I didn't freak out and like go to the bathroom 100,000 times. So I would just do that. And after that, I went to Hollywood, and I did the acting thing for a while there. And while I was doing that, of course, it was like the worst time of my life, because trying to become an actor in Hollywood is really a heinous experience.
What year were you in Hollywood?
When was I there?
Yeah, what year?
1997 to let me see. Is that when I went there? 97 is when I graduated. So till 97 to 2007 is when I lived in LA.
Oh, wow, so there were 10 years.
I stopped acting sometime around 2001, 2002. So I did about 2-3 years of torture. 4 years of torture.
Did you ever take the 405, Derek, to Brentwood over to the
405 to the PCH?
Oh my God! I know those were my stomping grounds. But of course, if you want to know about revolutions, I did I did Hollywood and I did LA with no car.
Time out. I call bullshit.
I know, right?
Impossible, right?
I know. Is that not? Don't you think that's impossible? It is possible by yours truly.
And
I
not
took
even
buses
Uber.
to all of my auditions. Wow. I took the bus everywhere. So I know what bus to take over to Brentwood. I know what bus to take over to you need to go. Give me 1 second. Hey, where are you going? Come over here. Let me take this off.
Just
And then
note it so I
take it off,
remember.
and then you ask your daddy to wipe your bum.
That's great.
Okay.
That should still be in
Yeah.
the show.
I know, dude. I'm telling you, this happens every single time. In fact, it just happened on my latest podcast. It happens every podcast. It doesn't matter. She comes up and she goes, I have to go potty. I have to go potty.
How many kids do you have?
So I always have to end up going to wipe a butt. That's like my thing. I should have that as my byline. Butt wiper.
Yo,
So,
yo, geek. I wipe butts.
So you're in
Kids
LA out in Hollywood, like 97 to 2007.
Seven, yeah.
Right. So you were there.
2007, yes.
Was Arnold Schwarzenegger the governor at the time?
Yes, he was.
Oh, that's so funny because I don't know if you know this, but he's here right now. Arnold, say hello.
Oh, is he?
Elsie, how are you doing? I'm so glad you're in California.
Arnold, did you ever meet Elsie?
I did multiple times.
You used to take the bus?
Yes.
Elsie, did you ever see Arnold on the bus?
I did. He took the line, the subway.
Well, yes, there was that one time I saw you on the bus, and we were both juggling 9mm guns and bullets, and because you were yes, and then we got some pizza. Hello,
Oh,
Pizza? The pizza's
Yes.
terrible in LA. Why would you go get pizza?
because I'm Arnold. I could eat anything as long as you put some bullets and some 9mm casings on that pizza.
You're obsessed with bullets.
Hello.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. Anyway, Elsie, you were saying?
I was saying before I was rudely interrupted. Not rudely. We love Arnold.
Visit
That I was doing
California.
LA. Oh,
All right, he's gone.
he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah.
That I was doing LA with no car, so I would take public transportation everywhere or my bike. I actually biked everywhere. I biked, and most of the clients that I worked with, because I did end up obviously teaching yoga for like a living. All of the clients that I took were within a 5-mile radius that I could bike to.
Well, you
cool.
must have
So-
seriously shape, right?
Yeah, besides yoga,
Yeah.
you were getting just exercise by riding your bike. That's crazy, though, without a car. I mean, did you ever come up to New York and do that? Because I'm a fellow actor as well, and I'm New York-based. But did you ever come up here, or was it just L.A. and you were like,
It was just LA. I actually initially went to, when we first graduated from grad school, I had meetings with agents in LA and New York. And then so I had a lot of people that were interested in New York, and I decided to do the bi-coastal thing.
yeah.
But at the same time, instead of doing bi-coastal, I just stayed in LA. So I didn't come back. Although, in thinking back, I would have preferred to have stayed in New York. But I decided to go to LA primarily because my family is from Los Angeles, and I had been away already in grad school in Colorado for 3 years. So I thought, you know what, I should just go to LA. Period. I have family there,
Yeah, you got
So
family there and
that's-
stuff. That makes sense.
So you're riding your bike
Yeah.
around LA. You're studying yoga to kind of help with your acting. So the yoga, did it, aside from like, when did you become like, I don't want to use the term addicted, but when did you fall in love with it?
With yoga?
Yeah.
It was right when I was working as guess what I was working at in LA while I was doing the acting thing? I was a waiter.
Yeah, of
So
course.
then I was serving tables. So while I was serving tables, I decided to start doing the yoga thing because it was really stressful. I mean, the entire industry is incredibly stressful. There's so many things, so many no's coming your way. There's so much it's just not cool. The way that you have to have so much inner strength that I didn't really have at that time, particularly when it came to my art. Because I thought I was doing art, and LA doesn't really think you're doing art. They just want to make money off of you, and I didn't quite know how to do that. So I decided to just kind of, started working in the restaurants, and that was really stressful too because I was dealing with like people who were not very kind to you, and
Yeah.
I needed stress release. And when I started to do yoga, I started to feel a difference. I started to feel that there were other things that I could do. There was a sense of calm about me. The way that I breathed was different. My ability to deal with people who were not very nice to me changed. And that was nice.
Yeah, I mean-
so all of these different things. Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, no, I've done yoga before. I'm not an avid yogi, but
Yogi?
I
No, well, I don't think any of those.
but no, I really do appreciate people
Yeah.
that do yoga and that can do that stuff. I mean, I kind of get that sense when I like just work out in general. It's that feeling of like release and like stress release and all that stuff. And but yeah, I mean, yoga's no joke, man. You ever done that, Mike?
Yeah, I actually do. I did, and I have to get back into it. But I did a lot of yoga.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's intense.
I started with like some Rodney Yee. When I was playing hockey, I like needed to limber up. You know, I was pretty flexible, but and when I was kickboxing, I really started. I started with Tai Chi at the end of classes. Like the instructor would just do a little Tai Chi, and then I flowed into yoga, and it changed everything. Man, I became so much more limber.
Yeah,
and my body was able to do other things. But Elsie, did you ever find that like when you were deep in? And are you a yogi? You are, right? Like you teach yoga?
Yes,
right?
yes, I am.
So like, do you find when
Yes.
you're like deep in it, that positive things happen to you? You know what I mean?
Meaning,
Do you believe in the energies? Like we had Gino Bisconti on a couple episodes ago, and he talked about E Squared, which is a book about pretty much about like law of attraction, like The Secret.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Uh-huh.
Do you find that?
Well, I got to tell you this. It was an empowering. It's always about attunement for me. So after you kind of know, yoga is very little about the poses. The poses themselves are very empowering, especially for a lot of us that are like maybe in this world like a type A personalities. They're kind of like laid out so that you can do them, and they beat you into submission so that you're still. That's at their core. That's why these physical poses exist. They exist so that you can get open in your body, and you can get sweaty, and your mind can finally stop doing its running. And so that's kind of what the secret is behind it. The bonus is that you do get more limber. The bonus is that you do get a chance to get stronger and more flexible. And there's all of these extra things that happen when you're doing these things. But that's not the be all and end all. So what ends up happening after you do all this yoga stuff is that you start to make the best choices that you can. You make aligned choices in the world. You start to see things when they're really askew, when they're really out of whack. You're really able to recognize them. So, okay, one idea of this was that, like during my time in LA as well, off and on being an actor, you smoke. You just do, especially with theater actors, which is crazy because there's something really cool about going to a bar like after the show and having a cigarette and drinking wine.
Kind of like that old school, like theater.
Scotch. Like you just feel like there's just this, yes, it totally
Style.
does that. So then, of course, you see that the older actors do that. And I had never smoked before. It wasn't anything that appealed to me, really. I just didn't really dig it. But I started to, on my own, want to because it seemed so cool. And so I started smoking, and I didn't smoke a lot. I always like smoked maybe at not my top. I was smoking like a pack a day, but it would be like 1 or 2 or 3 cigarettes after the show, especially when we were drinking and stuff like that. And that kind of carried on to my lifestyle when I went to LA, and I started doing yoga and practicing and running and doing all the stuff. And there are moments when it really hits you in the face and it's like, well, you are doing all of these things here to take care of yourself, and then you're coming back and you're smoking. So something here is like not adding up.
It's like the complete opposite of what you're trying to do.
Yeah. And so it becomes so clear at a point where you cannot deny it. Like you cannot, if you really go deep into the practice, you're just shown this is totally not in alignment. This is just not working anymore for you. And there's no hiding. There's no like, well, I'll only smoke when my best friends are around.
Or when I drink.
You have no excuses. You just kind of have to go like, well, that's the answer is this. This is where I go now because I can't do that because that's not right for me anymore. So it's like that.
Yeah,
kind of stuff happens.
Like just not to get sidetracked for a second, but smoking. It's like, remember back in the day, it was like, if you didn't smoke, it was like, you're the one that is being inconvenienced. There was the smoking section and everything. And then now it's totally switched where like, you can't even smoke outside in places, which is fine with me. But it's so interesting how that total shift. And the fact that people still like will start smoking nowadays when they know exactly, it's pretty interesting.
The way you look at people too.
They need yoga.
Smoking, they do. I walked into a bar not too long ago. I was skiing in Pennsylvania. Now in Jersey, you can't, and New York, you can't smoke inside. But in Pennsylvania, you can.
Oh, yeah.
And I walked into a bar after skiing to get dinner, and it was like, remember back in...
No, I remember. I went to bars when you could still smoke in
So
Jersey.
back like in the 90s when we were going to bars and we were younger, like you walked in, it was a cloud of smoke, and all your clothes smelled like smoke, and it was disgusting. And that had vanished from the world for years until you go to Pennsylvania, and it's still there.
I think 2005 is when it happened here in Jersey.
Actually, Sydney Lesperance, the fact checker,
Cha-ching.
please check that fact. Can you still smoke inside?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah,
no, but it's totally true. It's like it's a completely different thing, and you're right. It was kind of part of like there were so many moments that I remember in my younger days too. That it was like it was really cool to even stand outside of the bar and smoke, because that was still really cool. You know, there were all of these different things, or like, you know, after hours, after the bar closed, that's when like the bartender would take out his smoke, and then he would let everybody else that was still there after hours take their cigarettes out. And there was something like kind of cool about that. And I think it did start to shift and change. Although I have to say, like sometimes I look around and I go, really? You're still smoking? Like that's still like something cool. But you know what? What I've been seeing lately is all the e-cigarettes.
The vaping. I was just about to say that.
Things?
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
That's stupid.
I'm like totally confused.
And that doesn't look cool no matter what.
No, it looks like you're
weird.
an addict.
And you know what? People grab them and like they try to hide them. And they put them inside their hands and then like stick them in their pockets. And then like they take them out and they take a big like hit, whatever that is. And you see the smoke coming out. But you don't smell anything. And I'm always like, might as well. What are you doing?
Yeah. Wait until the scientific evidence comes out about those.
Oh, I know.
Years,
yeah. And they pour that like liquid into it. It's literally like
I don't know. I'm confused.
It's a battery powered contraption that they pour this liquid into, and then it like fires up inside real hot, and it creates a vapor, and then you breathe that in. It's like there's got to be something going. There's definitely something not good about this.
My gosh, I know, right? Doesn't that seem bizarre? I don't know. That's just weird. So might as well do it. Like there's been a couple times I'm like, there's something, you know, I could see like tobacco and rolling tobacco. Like there's something like interesting about that still. Rolling your own tobacco or even cigars. Yeah. But I just feel like this need to smoke. But anyway, I don't know, how do we get into this? But anyway, yoga makes you stop smoking.
So
it helped me make that decision for myself. Yeah.
Do you find that your yoga helps you with your podcasting? Like it did your acting?
Yes. Although I think my acting also helped me a lot more. The yoga helped me. The yoga helped me with the podcasting because of the voice work, because of the understanding that I could do, different things with my voice and how to modulate my voice and how to get close to the microphone or move away from the microphone to do certain things that I wanted to articulate in conversations. So that was really helpful. Voice work particularly. And then breath work, because I have heard a lot of people, even in podcasts, sometimes there's one podcast that I do enjoy. I enjoy the information that is shared, but this gentleman, I feel like his breathing patterns are off, and it stresses me out.
Gives you anxiety
because when he's talking, and then all of a sudden I feel, and then I hear this really deep inhale, and I'm just like, dude, why are you breathing so deep? Like it's like he's about to. And I get so stressed out, I can't hear him anymore.
Yeah.
You mentioned articulating, and I meant when we first started this episode, I was thinking like, wow, you articulate very well. Like you're very the visual I could put it in.
Well, she has a distinct cadence as well.
Yes, and it's a very sharp, like voice, but in a good way. I don't mean like I mean like not sharp on like singing wise. I just mean like you articulate very well. It's pleasant to listen to.
We have an intern on this show who's such a pain in the ass. His name's Dennis. I don't even know where he is. Dennis,
where'd he go?
I don't even know where he is right now. But we let him sit in on Chris Lodondo's episode, and I don't know if anybody caught this. And if you want to go back and look at our YouTube, Derek, our YouTube channel is what?
YouTube.com/PizzaBeatRevolution.
You can watch that episode, and there's a point. We don't even put him on camera because it's just nobody wants to see that. There's a point in the episode where this is all you hear. And I looked at him. I was like, Dennis, if you don't get away from, I'm like, giving him all the signs.
He didn't get
I don't know if anybody picked it up, but he kept breathing into the microphone.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Technique.
Yeah, no, I get it. I totally get it. And I think those are things that it helped me to attune both in, you know, because of the acting thing and also because of paying more attention. So less about yoga helping me calm down, more about being in the moment and being able to pay attention, because there's a lot of people like I finished this course. It's called, oh my gosh, it's a the guide to recording simple conversations on Skype. And it's offered as part of like the podcasting school for women, which is I'm one of the co-founders of that school. And it's part of that process. And I started to do it as simply as possible, like with no extra gear, just like your computer and a USB microphone, and that's it. And the first 4 videos of that is all about everything that you need to know about you that it has nothing to do with your stuff, meaning the gear, right? So it's all about like, do you talk with your hands? Do you move away from the mic? You know, what are things that you're doing while you're talking that you're not aware of? Because there's people who will start to, you know, they turn their hair like this and you're like, what happened to that, right? Yeah. Like, you just turned around or you move away or you forget to come back on mic or you don't press the mute button. You know, I said that the mute button is your boyfriend. That's how I named it because it's just like you have to be super intimate with the mute button because sometimes things happen. And for me, it happens all the time where I have to press that mute button. I mean, I have children coming up all the time. And that's why you know, I'm sort of a little more tentative to do any video because when I'm doing the audio stuff, I do so many things behind the scenes. It's not even funny. It's like I'm juggling. Like you'll see me doing a few things here while I was talking to you guys before, and I had to wipe a butt. I wiped a butt just to let y'all know. I wiped a butt while we were on camera.
It was your kid. It wasn't like a.
Right? It was my kid's butt. Yes, of course, not my butt.
No, but it's random.
And
like,
usually I have
a random person's butt.
I have to make. No random people come over here to wipe butts with me. No, just my kid. And then be able to like do faces, make faces to them and go, don't get away.
Yeah.
Get back. You know, all that kind of stuff is happening always behind the scenes with me with the mute going on. And then I just get on and I sound like I'm totally in the conversation.
No, it's great. I mute Derek all the time.
No, you don't mute me. You mute Dennis.
You?
Well, I just muted him, so it's just us. It's just you and me.
Oh my
Elsie.
God!
I know he's back. No, I muted him again. Sometimes you just have to take control. You know, the mute button's your friend. It's my boyfriend. It's my girlfriend now.
It's your girlfriend.
Mike run.
All right, just one more time. I had to do it one more time, but that's it. You're back.
I'm not going to.
No, you're back.
Okay. Yeah, no, Mike Izzy he's running the board over here.
Guys.
But it's usually Dennis that gets muted, not me.
Constantly.
But let's bring it back a second. Elsie, you have like you're very like you know, women empowering. You have you said the school. What was that called again? The school.
The podcasting school for women.
Podcasting school for women, and then the She's podcast, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to ask you: have you heard about this movement, the free the nipple thing? That's a very like.
No,
you haven't.
I have heard a little bit of something like that, but I have not heard. What is that?
Well,
explain it to me because I might.
Well, free the nipple.
Free the nipple, but it's
that's what you were doing.
Yeah.
Elsie, I don't know, you can't see us, but Derek kept like pinching his nipple and looking at him. Like, I didn't know what you were doing. So this is a great YouTube episode. Derek, I thought you were just touching your nipple.
No, that's what I was getting at. But anyway, it's a movement that
lactating
that women.
Oh my God!
Like a lot of women are backing. You know how guys we can go out there and we can run with our shirts off. We could be out there with our shirts off, and all these women are saying like it's unfair. We should be able to have our nipples out. And here I am, a dude, a heterosexual dude. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and do that.
Questionable.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm just wondering what you think about this. This whole.
Well, I'm
this whole
not
thing.
sure. It depends. It depends on when you want to free the nipple. Like I freed the nipple for almost so many different years, all the way to basically this year, because I've been breastfeeding this whole entire time.
No, but they be like walking the street with the shirt off, or going running outside, going running.
Well, anywhere a guy can have their shirt off. You're saying a woman should be able to have their shirt off too. I'm totally okay with that.
Beach, like when like
today was actually nude day, right?
I don't know.
Today it was National.
Well,
Nude
I could
Day.
understand. Today was nude day?
Yeah, so like wiping butts on a podcast, totally cool for today.
Well, like in New York City, if I'm pretty sure it's legal, 100% legal. If a girl wants to go running with her shirt off, she can.
Well, I'm not an expert on this.
Goodness gracious.
I don't know if you'd want to run with your shirt off though, as a woman.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right? But like I think Europe, like we're way behind this game in Europe. Like their boobs are out all the time. It's boob free in Europe.
It is boob free. There's a lot of boob free in Mexico too.
You know who
beaches,
you know who's really bitching about that? I don't know if you've been following the campaign, but Donald Trump is so angry about the nipple.
Boobs?
Yeah. Can you believe it, Don? What do you think about free the nipple?
I tell you what, I'm not a big fan. I love nipples.
Well,
but they belong in a bra.
if I'm gonna take my bra off at work, like, is it okay?
You have man boobs.
Am I still gonna be able to have a job?
No, you're fired.
My favorite part about when Donald Trump comes on the show is the look that Derek gets. You hate when Donald comes on the show.
Can't stand it.
Oh, Donald. Oh, Donald.
Whoa.
What happened there? We just hit a button. Sorry.
Music.
But so real quick
Music.
though. So are you for are you for this? I feel like a lot of, I mean, like they say that, you know, the whole like behind the Free the Nipple campaign is that, you know, men are allowed to and women are not. And I'm just kind of like, well, I'm 100% okay with it. Like, of course, take your shirts off. Like, I've done stand up about this where I tell the audience, I'm like, okay, ladies, time to take your shirts off. Like,
yeah,
I mean, free the nipple. I'm okay with it.
But here's the thing, too, because I keep thinking about that, and I don't think it has to do with that at all, at least from my perspective. Here's the thing, though. I was never a fan of the guys who would just take their shirts off just to take their shirts off. And then all of a sudden, they have their shirts and they're tucked into their pockets when they're, you know, what was that all about? Or the guys that lift up their shirt and they just leave, like, their belly hanging out, or they, like, tuck it up, and it's, like, you know, over their head, and it's only on their shoulders.
It's shirt or no shirt.
What the heck? But you know what? To me, that's like, don't free the nipple. Put the nipple back where it belongs.
Not every
behind
nipple,
your shirt.
let's be honest, not every nipple needs to be freed.
Right, there's going to be good nipples with bad nipples in this situation, but I'm saying you take the good with the bad.
You're an equal upper nipple-y employer.
Sure.
Right? Like,
sure.
So you're saying I don't care what the nipple is, good or bad?
You can't discriminate and say, well, you can free the nipple, but you can't free the nipple. That's a whole other thing.
It's going to see this whole nipple thing. There's going to be nippleists. You know what I mean? Like
nippleists. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I was asking. That's why I was asking Elsie. I was just saying, this is what this campaign is. Are you behind it?
Yes or no, Elsie? Are you behind it?
Yes.
How do you feel about the nipple?
Sure I want to free the nipple.
Okay, so you're not sure about freeing the nipple. All right.
All right, Elsie. This sound means we want to play a little game called Top or Bottom. I'm going to read you top or bottom.
That made my nipples hard, by the way.
It should. This
my God.
This music has made many people's nipples hard.
Yeah, totally.
I'm going to read you two terms. You're going to tell me if these two things were in a relationship, which one would be on the top and which one would be on the bottom. We're going to round table it. It's tailored to you, Elsie. Are you ready to play?
Okay. All right, here we go.
Here we go. Number one, top or bottom, iTunes or Stitcher?
iTunes on top.
Why?
Because I don't like the app, Stitcher app. It's kind of annoying me.
Do you think, like, is iTunes just kind of control? Is it they can have total control on podcasts?
Yes, they do. Sadly, they do.
Is it safe to say that iTunes invented the word podcast?
No.
No. Okay.
That is not
Didn't
true.
originate with them.
Derek D?
No.
Okay. Yeah, iTunes on top, Stitcher on bottom. I use iTunes.
It's funny because I'll agree with you. I say iTunes on top as well, but we have a Stitcher player on our website.
Oh, so Stitcher on top and iTunes.
You know? Well, iTunes doesn't offer players.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
you have to go through iTunes, and let's be honest, iTunes is cumbersome, man. It's terrible. Like, it never works right.
Kind of wonky.
I hate iTunes, the actual app on the computer. It's the most annoying app in the world.
Terrible.
But I have to say that for listening to podcasts, I don't use Stitcher, even
Yeah.
though it's like the second biggest downloaded podcast aggregator and used podcast aggregator on a smartphone.
Yeah.
But I just don't use it.
I agree. When I listen on my phone, it's on iTunes. On the podcast.
Yeah, me too.
Top or bottom, number two, for the love of the pod or monetization?
For the love of the pod.
Yeah? I knew you would say that.
Yeah. Well, that word monetization gives me shivers.
Why?
Because it's like they're so, oh gosh darn it. You're talking to the girl that like went to a grad school based upon yoga, that they offered yoga classes. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden I went into Hollywood and I was getting really incensed because nobody wanted to, that they didn't know that I did theater on stage, and all they were thinking about is like, could she be like the next, Jennifer Lopez? So it was like, it was so, yeah. So for the love of the pod, man, because
right.
with the love comes the money.
I don't
with the
hate.
love comes the money.
Derek D.
Yeah,
Wow, you're tortured.
I don't know. I mean, monetizing something is always good if it helps the podcast.
Yeah.
In a good way, and it's not like the man coming down and making decisions for you and taking away your art. So I mean, if it goes about, if it's done in the right way, I think monetization of your podcast on top. And then
well, how do you feel? Like you're kind of. Can we talk about FLD?
Sure.
Fastlane Daily. So you're kind of going through a buyout now, right? You're. Can we talk freely?
Maybe, maybe we don't say who's buying us.
Okay, so someone's coming in, bigger company's coming in and buying Fastlane Daily. Yeah. So that's a total monetization. Are you afraid that the man might say, "Hey, Derek, we want to change X, Y, and Z"? I
am a little bit, but at the same time, it's exciting because I don't know what's going to bring with it. I mean, more opportunity, more backing, more. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of like. Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Well, let me tell you, because it's not that the monetization is bad. That's not what I'm talking about. I just feel that whatever's happening right now for y'all or Derek, it's happening because you love it. It's because you started it for the love of the pod. It's because you wanted to do that. And then therefore people pay attention with that. Yeah. I think people coming into the space is what's making me kind of upset. It's like, even with the podcasting school for women, like one of the first questions is like, how do I make money doing this? And, it's a great question to ask. Absolutely. And then that's kind of like really just business sense. It's just building a business. And if you want to treat it that way, that's great. But there's also another layer to it, which is like the artistic and like the kind of stuff that you guys are putting out right now. I mean, you guys are prepared. You guys have your stuff. You guys have, interns. You guys have the camera going on. You have all these different things that you've really invested on. That's because you love to do it and you want to do the best job that you can. Now, if you would have just walked in there and had 2 microphones and be like, oh, we're going to make money on this.
Yeah, it doesn't happen like
what?
that. And that's why I'll agree with you, man. It's for the love of the pod. Like, that's how I feel. Well, because if you build it, they will come. They are coming. You know what I mean?
I agree with that too. And like Fastlane Daily, I mean, Elsie, I'm not sure if you know, it's a show I host. It's an online TV show. But but we've been around for really, really long. So I love the show, and I don't want to see it fall in the wrong hands. And I'm also a co-producer on it. So I'm hoping this is all positive, and I'm getting the sense that it will be. I'm just not sure. But in that sense, then it's for the love of it.
I mean, we have a sponsor. We have sponsors for the show, mainly Gianni's Pizzeria. We should. What's the website?
Gianni'sPizzeria.com.
You gotta love it. You like slice up that mouth, right?
Like
they let us pretty much say whatever we want to say. Like, we make our own taglines for them. Right. But I don't know how I would feel if a big company came in,
like Domino's or something.
Yeah, and was like, okay, you guys, we're going to sponsor you. We're going to give you X, Y, and Z, but you can't do top or bottom anymore. It's,
Right.
Like, I don't know how I'd feel about that.
Yeah, you're right. Now they're dictating.
Yeah. Top or bottom, number 4, downward facing dog or upward facing dog?
Oh, gosh. Upward facing dog on top.
Upward facing dog? Hate it.
Yeah.
Hate it.
I'm trying to remember what that one is.
Well, downward facing.
I know downward. Upward, you're just on your back, like with the same kind of position?
I mean, I'll let Elsie, I'll defer to her to describe it.
Yeah,
she
so
does
I wish I had
a
picture. Gosh, I wish I had a picture. I would have sent it to you. Yeah, so upward facing dog is a back bend. Downward facing dog is a forward bend.
Oh,
so,
I get it.
And I got to be honest with you, every single morning when my dog Hank, this weekend, Hank, you can follow him on Instagram. When he gets up, he does a downward facing dog into a upward facing dog.
Into an upward facing dog, exactly.
Every morning. Yep. And I say it when he does it like an idiot. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog.
So yes, upward facing dog is what I would say.
Derek D?
Yep.
I've only really done, I think, the downward facing. So I guess downward facing dog on top.
I like the downward facing dog. I feel like the forward bend releases the back a little more. You know?
Oh my gosh. But then, upward facing dog opens your heart.
Okay. I need my heart opened.
My heart open sometimes.
Top or bottom, number 4, nipple or no nipple?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Nipple on top.
You're freeing the nipple?
Well, this is top or bottom. We're not talking about the whole thing. We're just talking about...
I'm saying, you're saying nipple
top
on top.
Bottom.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm saying nipple on top. Absolutely.
I feel like Derek's going to agree with
I agree with you. Nipple on top.
I'd hate to say this, everybody, but I'm saying no to the nipple.
Because there's going to be a lot of bad
There's
nipples.
going to be There's going to be more bad nipples than good nipples.
But there's going to be good ones.
I guess, man.
You take the good with the bad, you know what I mean?
Top or bottom, number 5, leading the charge or empowering others?
Empowering others on top. For moi.
You love that. You're all about it.
I'm so all about it. It's crazy pants.
It was leading the charge or
Empowering others.
empowering others. Aren't those a little bit one and the same? If you're leading the charge.
Not really, man.
Not really.
It could be.
Could be.
Because you might lead the charge and totally step on everybody.
I'm going to say lead the charge, but I'm not a dickhead. So I would do it.
Again, questionable.
Well, get at it.
No,
but in that sense, stop talking.
I'm talking to the camera.
Leading the charge, I think I have that. I like that leading mentality, but in a way of helping.
Yeah.
In a way of helping, not in a way of like I'm better than you. You suck. Beat it, nerd. Not that.
Right. You're a bully. You're not a bully.
I'm not.
He's not a bully.
100% opposite of a bully. 100% opposite of a bully.
I'm going to say leading the charge, man. I feel like I get my hands on something and I run, and I like that. And if people get empowered in the midst of that, total bonus, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess I'll say leading the charge. But Elsie, empowering others. Let's get back to what you have going on now. You start aside from the yoga and the acting and the yoga podcast. You do the feed and you do the women's school for podcasting. All of these things are completely tools to empower.
Leading the charge.
Well, you are.
I know. And see, that's the thing, because I was just thinking about it. I'm like, I have been leading the charge. So maybe that's why I decided to empower others. Because I do generally tend to do things before everybody else does them. I like to just step into places that nobody likes to go or try new things and then leave them, because it's like, but podcasting has always been something amazing. But it's true. It's like with all of this stuff, one of my biggest thrills was just simply to make people or have people recognize that there's a lot more possible than they knew as possible. That's like key for me. Getting people upside down on handstands is like one of my favorite things to do, because a lot of people to think like, oh, I can do that. I did that when I was, I don't know. But I've gotten people like in their 60s upside down for the first time in their lives. And it is life-changing. So yeah, I love to see that, because then they get so fired up and they're like, oh my God, this is so great. I can do so much more. So
yeah, that's a good way to think of it. My brother owns a gym over here called All in Fitness in Belmar, New Jersey. But he says the same thing to relate it to yoga. He'll say someone will come in and be like, oh, I can't do that. I wouldn't be able to do that in a long time. And then he starts training them, and then they can do it, and they're like, I can't believe I'm able to do this still. Yeah. This is amazing. And it's that whole thing, like, you're only as strong as put your mind to it and you'll be able to accomplish it, kind of thing.
Totally. Absolutely. Yep.
Is that the kind of philosophy you put into your class for podcasting?
Oh, yeah. I teach about all kinds of different things, but the majority of the time it's some kind of empowering thing or something that I make people think about. I had a class that is, I don't remember if the exact title was this, but it's called Are You the Bully? And part of it was me moving into being a bully and how, I don't know, I brought the story about somehow, but then at the same time, I really brought it home when we were doing the class about really focusing on them, saying, like, are you the bully and are you bullying yourself? Not necessarily anybody else, like you're a bully for some other people, but are you pushing yourself too hard? Are you talking to yourself in a way that you shouldn't be talking to in your own head? When you're in a yoga class, are you bullying yourself into doing things that you should not be doing? And so we have this kind of bully mentality that sometimes doesn't leave us, and we just kind of think that bullies are only those people, the people that really deal with other people and say things to people and disempower other people, whereas we are often our own bully in our own head. So that was a class that I taught, and that's kind of about that kind of thing. And I always bring some kind of something that inspires me, an article that I read, a story, a specific teaching that really hit home. I always teach about my life, and it's not that I know any better. It's just that sometimes these things hit me hard. I'm like, oh my God, wow, that's amazing. I need to deal with this, or wow, I need to let my students know about this, and we'll do it through yoga. So I find that a lot of these things really land on people when they are sweaty and they have no other way. They can't do anything. They can't run away. I have them in a weird posture and they're like, what's she talking about? And so a lot of these philosophical tidbits and teachings really go in your head when you're in a kind of disempowered physical shape. So,
that's an interesting concept to think about it in that way. But imagine that.
It's really cool.
That would work. And that whole idea of like, don't be your own bully. You know, you're in your own head, your own worst enemy kind of thing. And that's
totally
good. Get yourself out of that, mind frame.
I want to transition a little bit and go back now to when you go to Libsyn and you start.
Okay.
When you go to Libsyn, what is your first connection with them? They bring you on to do the feed and immediately to do the podcast, the Libsyn feed?
Oh, no, not at all. When I started with Libsyn, they didn't have a podcast. It was like, oh gosh, Libsyn's gone through so much since I've been there. But actually, it started with my co-host, Rob Walsh. He was at that time hosting a show called Podcast 411, which is sort of like it's kind of like the Actors Studio, that show that's kind of super awesome that they talk to people, the actors, for a long time. He created that for podcasters, and it was called Podcast 411. And it was really back in the day when podcasting first started, it was really great to be on Podcast 411. It's like, that's when you made it. And so he had me on the show, like in 2007, I believe. And I was so excited. And we kind of like got to know each other just because I was on the show the same way that I am on the show right now with you guys. It was just a great time being on with him. And he was coming to the podcast and new media expo. It's what it was called back then in Ontario. And I was living in LA at that time. And so he was like, so how are you? Like, we just did small talk. And I said, well, I'm going through a really big transition right now. And I'm going to be, kind of moving, and I'm looking for things like a job and all that kind of stuff. And he said, I might have something for you. And I said, okay. And he said, let's talk in Ontario. And I said, all right. And so when I went to Ontario, he basically said that he had just been hired by Libsyn as the VP of Podcaster Relations, and he wanted me to work with him. And I said, okay. And so that was it. That was kind of it. And I started sort of working specifically with Rob at that time. And slowly, since that was in 2008 when I actually started, 2007, the end of 2007, November. And then slowly through the years, then I kind of took another role, sort of like I'm the social media community manager now, where I'm kind of like the front face of Libsyn in social media.
So since 2007, have you seen you've obviously seen a drastic increase in podcasts coming through Libsyn?
Yes, I have.
Do you think it's an absolute flooded space at this point?
No, not at all.
You don't?
I don't think so. Mm-mm. No, because it's like, I don't think so. I think people are going to keep on doing it. They'll keep on getting podcasts up. They'll keep on doing their stuff. It's just that there's going to be a lot of more diversity, which is what I hope. And then there's also going to be a lot of people that are going to figure it out that it takes a lot of work. It's being sold right now as something really easy to do. Be an expert in your platform.
Right.
Show people, have your own platform. And I'm always like, yeah, totally. I'm right there with you. I mean, I've gotten incredible things because of podcasting, but it's hard. It's not as easy as writing a blog post. At least I don't think so.
It's very easy though if your name's Derek D.
Well,
oh right, of course I forgot about that. Now. I forgot about that. That's like, but that's very few people have that.
No, so. Right. But how do you tell people or I don't know, point people in a direction to cut through the crap to get to the quality? Because the There's a
Yes.
lot of bad ones out there,
Yeah.
but there are some good ones.
Yeah, definitely.
But there are some good ones. And so, one way that we're doing it in Libsyn is we're just actually starting a whole like series of educational webinars, because we've realized that there's a lot of people who are doing this kind of stuff for money, and they're teaching things that are not okay, or that are not optimal, or that are promising things that are just not true. And then what happens is they take these courses, or they do these trainings, and then they come to us and they're like, how come this isn't working? Right? To us. Like we're like, I don't know where you got this information, but this is not the way you do it. And no, that's usually not the right stats. And that's why the feed started as well, because it was really about getting our voices out there and really presenting stats and information that a lot of the people that have louder microphones or louder megaphones have. And it's also one of the reasons why Jessica and I started the podcasting school for women, because we saw so many women either afraid of podcasting or getting really just not okay information, where you're just like, what? So-and-so told me to upload my MP3 into iTunes. How do I get it up? I don't know where to put it in. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You don't put your stuff, you don't do that. That's not oh my God. So it's like, it's just really, really, really hard. So we decided that the way to cut through is to be louder, or be the voice, if you will. So that's what we're trying to do a lot of now, proper education.
And you were there since the beginning, so you would know what you're talking about. It's the same thing with like, my show on YouTube and everything. We were on the ground floor of all that, and I see people trying to do things like, you're just doing it wrong. We actually have a segment on my show called "Doing It Wrong."
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's true, and it's kind of frustrating, because there's a lot of things, and of course I can't teach what I have. Like, okay, so Elsie's yoga class right now, it's still getting. I'm almost at 4 million downloads for that podcast. I'm still getting a lot of downloads daily.
Oh, in total.
I'm sorry?
In total.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I thought maybe
in total.
daily.
Yeah, in total. Not in total.
Right.
And so yeah. And it's getting I'm not sure what my monthly are, but it's something that people would covet right now. I'm getting a very decent amount of downloads in that podcast, and I'm doing no promotion. I haven't published a new episode now in almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in November. Not that I'm proud of that. I just haven't been able to get anything out.
It's not the kind of thing you need to, right? If you have the lessons up there, people go for lessons.
Yeah, that's true.
You do a yoga class over and over.
Exactly. People are doing them over and over again, so it doesn't really necessarily need. But I could have, capitalized on it and grown it a lot more, since I have so many people still downloading it. But the reason that happened is because I started early. I have great SEO in iTunes. People find me so fast. I'm like one of the first podcasts that shows up when you type in yoga. And that's because I was there for so long. The algorithm is skewed to me.
Right.
I can't teach that. It's like, that's just, I was there faster. That's not part of a course. I can't teach that. I mean, I don't do anything for it. I don't promote it. I don't write blogs. I haven't been into the back end of my website in, I don't know how long. It's just hanging out. That's not my business. It's just what I did. And I still will continue to do it. But it's sort of like, people are like, how do you do that? How do you get that? Well, I really can't teach that. That was just, I was at the right time.
Yeah, I mean,
there doing the right thing, so.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I'm not sure how that works for search, for SEO, for people listening, that's search engine optimization. But on YouTube, they write new algorithms almost daily, and since and they change it up. So we used to be able to find certain episodes of our show, and we're a daily show, been around for a long time. So there's over 2,100 episodes. So we're because we have so much content, we drop lower because they think we're flooding it.
Right.
So it's a pain in the ass.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah. So that's what sucks about that. But I guess in iTunes, or it's maybe a similar algorithm. When people search, boom, it finds you. If there's put in those certain words, you pop up, which is great. I mean, we would love for that to keep happening. But YouTube, they're very sneaky with that stuff. They change things constantly. Where one thing you would have found typing one thing last week, you might not this week.
If you had to,
that's very interesting.
Yeah.
If you had to put it out there to the world, an average podcast, just for the listener to kind of get an idea. The average podcast what's the average downloads per month?
Well, there's two different numbers that we like to talk about. Like one of them, I think that right now it's hit like I'm trying to remember because Rob just did these actually for the latest The Feed episode, but I believe the average download per episode per month right now, where he gets the average based upon taking the highest amount of downloads, like the top 3, I believe, out, and then the lowest amount of downloads, like people who are getting like 1 or 2 downloads per month, those have also gone out. It's right around 2,000 a month.
Right, so you're taking out like Serial.
All of that.
You're taking out Serial and the dude in his bedroom on his phone.
Yeah, the dude. Yeah, exactly. So we're taking those out so that it kind of averages it out a little bit more. But that's just one number.
Is that per episode or is that on a show?
That's per episode. So that would be, let's say, right now we are recording this mid-July. So in mid-July, then the next time, so in order to see how many people download this specific episode, you would need to come back into your stats in mid-August for this specific episode, not in compilation with all your other stuff, not of the month of July, but just from this episode until the end, until the beginning or the mid-August, and then you will see those numbers, and that's the number that we were looking at. Now, in terms of the median number, which is a completely different number, and this is the number that I really want to drive people home to check out, is that the median number is 50% of podcasts are below this number and 50% of podcasts are above this number. And that medium number is hanging out right around the 150 downloads per month mark. So that means that half of the episodes that are out there, all those over 5 figures, like 35,000 podcasts out there are getting, 50% of those are getting less than 150 downloads per episode per month. And the other half are getting more than that. So if you're hitting that 150, 50 number, you're like above most. So you're 50% above everything.
It blows my mind that's that is the number.
Yeah.
Isn't that the number? Isn't that mind blowing? And so then people are like, oh my God, we have to get so many. Well, the majority of people don't get that. So, and then there's also a breakdown of only I think that 20% get 5,000 downloads or more per month. Or 10%, something like that. So you're really striving, the people that are looking for advertisers that are based on download numbers only.
Right. I was just going to say, the numbers don't match.
No, they don't match. It's only like the top 10% or less.
Right.
So how do you expect to land these guys? And then even then, there's all these people how do I get onto mid-roll and, tracking their stuff with PodTrack and Podcast One and all this kind of stuff and trying to get advertisers based on this skewed model, then it's like they're going to look at you and go you are doing so much great work, but you need your numbers to go up. And then Libsyn, the whole thing is how do I get those up?
Even Libsyn's back end asks for 20,000 downloads a month to
totally.
advertise.
Yep. And that's basic. That's the bottom line. That's exactly it. And so in Podcasting School for Women, we actually teach this, and we say, this is the way the podcasting industry is looking at your work. This is what you have to have if you want to work with this model. But we don't believe in this model. So we kind of skew it and we turn it around on them and we say this is disempowering for the podcasters. You're not making the right connections with the potential, perfect partners that you could be working with. And you can start to really leverage what you have, because it's not about downloads. It's about your entire brand. It's about, like with you guys, you have your podcast, you have the YouTube channel. I'm sure you have a social media following. I'm sure you have people coming on your website. I'm sure you have some kind of newsletter. If you don't, you need to have that ASAP. So then all of these different things in compilation, I'm going to send you guys our media kit so that you see how we positioned ourselves, how we positioned She Podcasts to get the sponsors right now that we have. We don't have any sponsors for the show, but we have sponsors for the event that we're going to be teaching over at the Podcast Movement. And we wanted to get these ladies something special for them. Day event that we're going to be teaching very specific kind of like advanced things for podcasting. It's really just about building a platform and whatnot. And we wanted to get sponsors, so we had to leverage it. And we've hit a pretty decent mark. We're now able to buy the ladies lunch. We can probably get little things. I think we're thinking about getting notebooks and like these little bags to put their gadgets in, to be able to do that. And we were able to leverage it. You know, it's how you position yourself, and it's nobody else is going to come looking for you. You're going to have to do it.
Yeah, pretty much in a lot of industries, you know, that's the way it is. Sell yourself. You know, your own best agent.
Totally, absolutely.
I have a couple questions for you, but before
there's a phone.
Yeah, do you hear that?
Yeah, I hear that. What's that?
All right. Well, we're going to get to that in 1 second, but before we do, Derek and I are going to guess what your AOL Instant Messenger screen name was. I think I got it.
What?
You want to go first, Derek?
Like what your
You remember AIM?
Remember AIM?
Yes,
Okay.
I remember AIM.
You had one, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, don't say it yet.
All right. I think. Can I go first?
Yeah, go first.
Okay. I'm going to say it was Yogi 07. It's simple. That's what it was.
Yeah, but she didn't get into. She was an actress, theater actress. So, Elsie actress 1001.
What was it?
Oh my God, are you asking me now?
Yeah.
Okay. It was, I know, you're going to be like, what? Lilita Linda.
Everybody remembers it. You know?
Yeah, nobody would have known that. Yeah, that's just something I named myself.
What was it again? Lalita Lina?
You have Play-Doh games? You need Lilita Linda. Sorry, 1 second. I need you to have your phone. I don't have a phone.
Lalita Lina.
Okay. Lilita Linda. Yes, I know. That's what my grandmother used to call me. So it was like a nickname.
Oh, you speak Spanish?
See.
Yeah.
Nice.
See.
So the sound you're
My
hearing.
grandmother used to call me molded bread in Italian when I was.
Oh my God.
I was a fat little baby.
How you say it?
Banamugad, I believe.
Bottom of God. This sound is the Armchair Futurist. We like to ask everybody, you know, what their AIM screen messenger name was, but also what does that sound, that modem sound, mean to you?
AOL, like old school, like it makes me feel like, oh my God, I have to wait. I hope this connects.
Got mail. But also, like, that sound to me, literally, like, is the beginning of all of this.
Yeah.
Everything we're doing.
The beginning. I like
Just
that.
the beginning of it all. Like, that sound is the portal to now. Like, over the years, of course.
So, Elsie, the year's 2050. This segment's the Armchair Futurist. This show is about the revolution, and it's the revolution of you. So, in the year 2050, you're sitting back in your reclining chair, and you're looking at the industry. Whether that we talked about podcasting, we talked about yoga, whatever that industry is. That is Elsie Escobar. What does it look like in 2050?
Oh my gosh, it's. I think it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Everything you want is everywhere, meaning at the touch of a button. At the touch of a button, you can get the classes that you want. At the touch of a button, you can get the show that you want in your ears, to watch the movies that you want, almost anywhere at any time. That's what it looks like to me. But I also see that it's going to be a little bit different for me, because I will be moving away from that so that I could go away from being so connected into a real deep disconnection from all of it. How old am I going to be at that time? Yeah, dude, I'm going to be like in the mountains as a hermit.
I think you're the first person to say something along those lines. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's going to be
away.
like at that time, everything's going to be so connected that you're going to be yearning for disconnection. You're going to be yearning for
that's
kind
awesome.
of be doing your own thing. You're going to be yearning to kind of not be seen, not be heard, not be, to be more private, to be quiet, to be connected with nature even more. So all of that stuff is going to be coming out. There you have it. How's that?
That's pretty
good,
awesome,
huh?
yeah. Are we talking to us or you're talking to...
No, I know. No. I'm trying to...
That's great.
Hey, man. Give me 1 second. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, that's super cute.
After the very first is Bio.
Yeah? Okay. Well,
Kid voices rock.
I know kid voices do rock. Can you ask your daddy to find this for you? Because this is really hard for me to do it right now. I can't type this. I'm in the middle of taping. Can you please ask your daddy to give you Play-Doh games? Okay, goodness gracious. They love to watch. Now, speaking of YouTube, these little monkeys over here are obsessed with watching Play-Doh videos.
Oh man, there's so many.
You'll search for Play-Doh, and there's all of these videos of people playing with Play-Doh and talking about Play-Doh, and only hands, right? So, oh look, I got the new thing of how to make spaghetti. Oh look, let's put all this. Oh, and look at how you can make ice cream. And they talk about it, and they're riveted. And they love to watch
their
Play-Doh
stuff,
games.
man. That and Legos.
Yeah, there's a channel. There's a channel where this guy this guy and his kids review toys, and they get gazillions of views.
Totally. Yes, exactly. My girls do watch that too. They watch like them opening things. And so it's just hands opening little bags of cute toys. And they're like, oh, I got another little toy. It's so cute. And they're like, oh,
It's crazy.
wow.
It's crazy.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
I know.
And here we are, we're trying to like entertain people with conversation. Might as well, we could have just opened toys.
Unboxing.
Unboxing things.
Elsie, thank you so much for coming on the show.
You are so welcome. You're so welcome.
On the way out, is there anything you'd like to plug?
No, just come and hang out with me. Like the best way to connect with me is via Twitter or Instagram at YoGeek, although I've been kind of quiet in social media as of late, but or listen to the Feed or She podcast to hear a little bit more. In fact, we just just to let you guys know, we just had a pretty hardcore episode go out for She podcast. It's episode number 57, where I passed on an opportunity that was given to me for the podcast movement. And it's a really in-depth kind of no holds barred conversations about what it really does take to be a mama and to podcast and have a career and all that stuff. I mean, it's like, yeah, you should listen. If you have any ladies in your life, or even if you guys want to listen up, to see what women go through sometimes and how, yeah. So.
Right on.
I mean, hey, yeah, that's always interesting information.
Hey. I know, information.
PBR Podcast, you can find us on the web, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram us. Give us some love, and we will love you back. We'll see you on the flip side.
We will.
Yeah. Thank you.